Hello there, Point Pleasant, and happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of the Ocean Star Sports Show. I'm your host, sports reporter, Dominic Polio. I'm going to apologize in advance. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather this week, so I only grabbed two highlights for you, and unfortunately, they're both losses. But the highlights are good, and the efforts from both teams were great. So let's take a look. We're going to start with Point Beach softball, who hosted Henry Hudson, and then we're going to go to Point Boro softball, who hosted Central Regional. So let's kick things off with the Garnet Gulls and see how it turned out. The Point Beach softball team hosted Henry Hudson in a tough matchup at home last Thursday. Hudson used a late game rally to take the win 5-2. The Admirals scored first in the first inning on a hard grounder up the middle. The Gulls took care of business, though, with a ground out to Lauren Knapp at second and a strikeout from Kylie Kells to end the side. Beach was unable to answer until the bottom of the third. Jillian Lamb gets a single after a great stop and throw by the Admiral shortstop gets mishandled at first. Then Ashley Kelly beats out a slow grounder to put another runner on base for Beach. Kells stepped into the batter's box and lined a shallow ball to the outfield, which plated Lamb and tied the game at 1. The two teams would then go scoreless in the fourth and fifth thanks to strong defense. Check out this nifty grab from Katie Renaro behind home plate for a Beach out. Definitely worth the cheers. It would not be until the sixth inning when the game saw another score, and it was a Henry Hudson grounder that snuck through to the right field for the one-run lead. Beach eventually ended the threat with a nice grab from Michaela Hughes in the infield. Unfortunately, the Admirals weren't finished, and their bats got noisy in the final inning. They batted in 3 runs to take a 5-1 lead before Beach was able to stop them. They eventually turned this double play to end the surge. With their final at-bat, it was Kells who beat out the throw from third to give Beach another run and close the gap. But the Admirals' defense would eventually prevail, and with this pop out to the shortstop, Henry Hudson closed out the 5-2 victory. A hard loss for the Garnet Gulls against the very tough Henry Hudson team, but the effort was there, and sometimes the wind just doesn't blow the way you need it to. So, we're going to go from Point Pleasant Beach to Point Pleasant Boro, and again, it's softball, and the Panthers were hosting the Golden Eagles. And another loss, but a great game nonetheless. So let's check out the highlight and see how it all played out. The Point Boro softball team saw a game slip away Wednesday when they hosted Central Regional. The Golden Eagles handed the Panthers an 8-1 loss after a close start to the game. Boro looked like they'd break open the game early after an absolute blast from Melissa Alfonso for a triple. She ended up stranded, though, as Central secured the last out on a pop fly to second. The Eagles then scored the first run of the game in the third inning. A single to left, followed by a small bunt, put 2 runners on base for the Golden Eagles. Then it was a long ball to center field that cleared the bases for 2 runs. Another shallow hit to center scored 1 more run, and Central was ahead of Boro 3-0. The Panthers eventually closed out the side with a solid catch from Jamie Morris at second, but was unable to generate any offense with their turn at bat. Then Central blew the game open in the fourth with hit after hit and a little help from some Boro errors. The Panthers still made some strong defensive plays, but the Golden Eagles eventually batted in 5 runs to take an 8-0 lead. Boro did manage to score in the bottom of the 5th, and things got started with a mishandling by Central's first baseman. After a walk and a steal from both runners, a sacrifice single scored Boro's only run. Sorry about the angle, surprisingly a lot of action around that dugout. Now fast forward to the final inning, and Boro was getting their bats on the ball, but it was all in vain. Central's defense remained resolute and closed out the 8-1 victory. Well, I think the two teams were evenly matched, and Boro was in the game, but they just let a couple errors get the best of them. In the future, I'm sure they'll work that out and get back on track to pulling in some wins. Those are the only 2 highlights I have for you for this week, but as I always say, there's way more sports in the actual newspaper, so make sure you pick up your copy of today's Ocean Star. That's April 22nd, 2016 and give that sports section a good read from front to back. When you're done doing that, I want you guys to hop on over and check out the people section of the newspaper. I actually had the opportunity to do a feature story on Point Boro High School's very own Christian Oren, currently a freshman, who recently won a national scholarship. That means one out of everybody in the nation, and Oren was the one who was selected for that. The scholarship goes to a football player for his contributions on and off the field, and Christian was very deserving of the award. I got to sit down with his family and himself, and definitely well deserved. So make sure you guys give that story a read. You can follow me on Twitter at DomPolio. That's at DOMPOLLIO. Scores, updates, pictures, video, you name it, I got it. Once again, I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by and checking out the show. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. So, I'll see you guys again next week. I'll be here. You'll be there. But for now, reporting for Star News Group, I'm Dominic Polio, wishing you a happy weekend.